This is the Sourceseeker Hour, the 151st episode. We appreciate everybody who has been joining us all along. This is about friendship. How many friends do you have? How many friends have you lost over the years? I tell people friendship is about a level. We have kindergarten, elementary school. How many people have continued their friends from that time? High school, college, neighborhood, work, all the different levels of where you might find friends. Church, all the different levels where you might find friendships from. That's what we're going to be talking about today on this program. I would say the friends I have two friends, deep friends that went to elementary school with me. I have Lawrence Allen, I have Daryl Malloy, Howard Armstrong, um, Dexter Strange. Those four friends went to elementary school with me. There's some other friends are more so associated. Those friends were neighborhood friends with me also, as well as went to school with me. So they were neighborhood friends. So the combination of neighborhood and school. Then you have just school elementary friends. And we recently had a gathering of Johnston Junior High, and it was amazing that 5 of those particular friends that were at the Johnston Junior High gathering went to elementary school with me. And that was a very good occasion. Can you imagine? I'll be 62. And let me say this. This is our birthday celebration. Birthday celebration. So we are enjoying our 62nd birthday. 62nd birthday will be February the 14th, and we look forward to that and many more. But I wanted to come on and celebrate with you, come on and share with you what I've been through and the lessons I've learned over the years. It is amazing to still be friends with people over that many years. So I must be doing something right. It is a blessing to still be with people from many years. Now, I have a lot of friends from the church that I joined. So I would say, first of all, the most friends I have 2 good friends, and 3 good friends, let me say 4 good friends from elementary school neighborhood. Then I have friends from elementary school who were not in the circle or neighborhood that we were in. And I just mentioned that I met them back, a lot of them back at Johnson Junior High. Then we have high school. I went to Rothschild Sterling High School. Not as close with those people, but I do have some friends from high school. We just had our reunion gathering. We had a reunion picnic. We had an all Sterling picnic, and that was a good occasion. And you saw a lot of people from there. But I am not as close to them, and it's more of a work to be able to find a common connection with them. So it's interesting how friendships go. Then I have some college friends, not as close to those either. But in fairness, I went to Sterling for 3 years. Excuse me, I went to Prairie View for 3 years. Then I went to TSU for 2 years. So was not able to make as many associations because I wasn't there and didn't share in the feelings that deeply that long at those two places. I do have one good friend, but we've had issues. One thing I want to ask is, what makes a good friend? And how many friends have you fallen out with over the years and over time? So it's good, it's important. Looking at friendships, relationship experts recommend maintaining friendships besides people with your significant other or your romantic partner because it benefits your emotional health. Just to have somebody to talk to who can really tell you up front what is going on with you. They could tell you, hey, are you doing okay, and really mean it. They can say, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, and be there to talk with you. This is the 151st episode of the Sourceseeker Hour. Very blessed to still be here. My birthday is in 6 days, February the 14th. I look forward to many, many more. My father lived till 91 years old. It would be a joy to make it that far, but I'm thankful for every single day. We have a guest joining us. I believe in starting on time too. That's very, very important. When you're doing a show, this is our 151st episode. And we've had all different kinds of shows, as I mentioned. We've had shows on sexual harassment. We've had shows on the legality of drugs. We've had shows on many healthy living shows. All different. We're going to have a show on climate change coming up. Let me give you the schedule of the shows that are about to come up. Well, the shows that are about to come up. Hello, ma'am. How are you? Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay. All right. Good. You want to work on your audio? I'd like you to work on your audio so you can talk to and we can practice back and forth. I can't hear you.
Okay, I was on mute, that's why.
Okay, that sounds good.
And
Well, it looks like you got more experience. We are live on Facebook. We are also recording, but this is still a practice. My guests have not arrived yet. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes things happen and they don't get a chance to show up. One of them said he had problems with his Zoom, but sometimes those things happen. But
okay.
I did want to talk about friendship. This is first of all the 151st episode, and I'm not going to keep you that long, especially if we have no guests. I'm not going to keep you long at all.
Okay.
But friendship is essential to the soul, as the Omega say, and out of the church, I have developed some lasting friendships. My friends from the church were Adelifu, Okolo, and Siddiqui. We were the ones that hung out. We kind of gravitated to one another. Of course, I got other friends. The people I was in CTG and BTG with, Oko, Jafari, Camp Bowie. I'm not as close to them. I haven't contacted them very much. And, once we were broken up after BTG, we went to our ATG groups. We kind of faded away from each other. And that's how things went on. While me, Siddiqui, Adelifu, we all connected on a kind of, I guess, a common ground. So those are good things. Who would you say were your best friends within the church?
Sauda was one. She was a dear friend of mine.
Sauda, that was in my BTG group?
Uh-huh. And her Asim's mother.
No, you're talking about Sauda, who she
passed a couple of years. She passed.
Yeah, I know. And she was I was her Malakio. She's the one that invited me to the church. Yes.
Oh, I thought you were part of the church before us.
No, she invited me to the church. Now, I think she had only been a member like a year or 6 months before she recruited me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I got some Sauda stories, a lot of Sauda stories. Well, of course, when I went to the wake and the funeral, I talked about it, that we were trying to do a magazine. We were trying to do a newsletter.
Yeah.
And so we made an agreement that, okay, you do a week or you do a month, I do a month, and then you do yours your way, I do mine my way. So when it was her turn, she did very well, and everything worked out fine. But then when it was my turn, she had a whole lot to say and had to change it up, and she couldn't let me do mine my way. So that was an interesting story. We worked a lot. We tried to work a lot together. We always did heads though, and but it was out of love.
Yeah.
It was out of love, and we went back and forth. So yeah, that hurt me a lot when she passed.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of history. As I said, she's the one that brought me into the church formally. Now, I had heard about the church before that from Asakile. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember him.
Young brother.
Yeah.
Are you originally from Detroit?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's from Detroit and went back to Detroit.
Yeah.
Siddiqui, we just kind of having general conversations. We are live on Facebook, and we're also recording this. This is my 151st episode. And I just wanted to talk about friendship. And I'm supposed to have my brother on here. We was in the 3rd grade together. And that I'll be 62 in a few days.
Wow.
So this is my birthday celebration.
And time flies, huh?
Yes, time does fly, and the more days we go on, at least I am much more appreciative of every day because it's not promised to us. I try to do the best that I can to hold on and make a mark in the world, and do the best I can for my kids and for myself. But I just wanted to enjoy and share some time with my friends. And I thank you, Siddiqui, for joining us and so forth. It's very gratifying to me. I just wanted to ask, Siddiqui, we've been knowing each other since CTG, so how many years is that? 40?
Golly, man, don't get me to start doing math right now. I know I'm a math major, but
Say 30-something years.
30
yeah,
something?
let's say that. Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
about
30,
30. They're
30
in the
something years.
30s.
Yeah, that's big though. And I was recounting when I went to elementary school, we just had a function, Johnston Junior High reunion. So people I was in junior high school with, we just had a reunion. So that was 47 years, I think, or maybe longer. But out of those people, there were 5 people I went to elementary school with. So I'm still in contact with them. And my thing is, of course, we've all had people that have fallen off from friendships from us. And
You're cutting off. Okay.
say again?
So your head cuts off. So you want to sit back.
Okay. Okay. I got you. Thank you. And
Yeah.
a lot of that is, this is my 151st episode, and I'm trying to make sure we get to 250 and we're at a higher level. And Zoom is still a kind of a new thing, and there's still a lot of people that don't know how to do Zoom. I think we're maybe in the 50% bracket, or us that can navigate Zoom and so forth, but it's still a new thing. But going back to friendship, I had a brother, my brother Lawrence Allen. We were in the 3rd grade together, and we're still friends. He can call me up in the middle of the night and say he has an emergency, and I have no problem getting up because we have built that type of credibility over the years. Now, we've had a few arguments and so forth, but not that many, surprisingly. Not that many. Me and Siddiqui, we haven't had that many arguments over time. There were times when he was disappointed in me. I was disappointed in him, but we have a genuine care for one another. Would you agree with that, Siddiqui?
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And you know, I'm probably different in the way I go about things. I think he's a little bit more analytical and more, as he said, mathematical. I'm more creative, but as you go along in life, and I don't want to discount your creativity. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying my brain works in a way, but at the same time, if we get to this level, we have to pull on those other traits also to just adjust. So I have to become a little bit more detail oriented. I had to become a little bit more methodological and step by step. That's the only way to survive in this world, because you can't just be one way. There were times that I know that my brother, he wasn't sure about how I was going to make it, because, you know, I was out here and out there and different things. But God blesses us and we are able to find ways to survive. I'm just really deeply getting to know Manera better. But when we were in the church, I saw you from a distance. I didn't know you as well then, but at that time, I was a whole different person too. You know, from that time in the church, we have grown and we've had to grow. That experience was a unique experience, and all 3 of us shared that experience. But we've had to adjust from that day also, because we thought we were always going to be within the Black Christian nationalist movement, and there was a certain way and a certain way we had to carry ourselves and so forth. So what would you say about our experience, and what you thought about myself during that time, Manera?
Well, I'm like you. I just I know you were a member of the church, and everybody in the church was my brother and sister. And as far as relationships were concerned, I know that's one of the things that the church made me aware of in terms of our need for each other, right? That was one thing. The other thing was that we all have our gifts, right? And
Very
so,
much true.
right. And also,
I love that background you have. How did you get that?
and what do you mean my background?
Your background, the picture of the African,
Oh,
yeah.
well, I don't know. I found it on the internet somewhere.
So it's a picture, and you put it in your virtual background.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You know how you could put different patterns up and you could play
Yeah.
around with which one you want to use. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's all a part of what we are doing. We are learning
Yeah.
the internet for your upcoming show as well. And I wanted to just have a time with my friends and be able to share. I hate that my brother Lawrence, he said his internet was, or his Zoom was not updated. He's still going to try to work on it, but he may not be able to work on it in time. I don't want to keep everybody. I just want to say thank you. And thank you for being my friend, as the song says. Thank you for sharing the time with me. And one thing about me, I try to go out of my way to make sure I keep friends. And if I've done something to offend, I have no problem saying I'm sorry. How can I do better? Now, I found that there's a lot of people that can't do that. You know, even within my own family, my brothers and sisters, they cannot do, at least two of them can't. But I think it's a very important thing, and it shows a level of maturity if you can do that. I just wanted to ask this: over time, how many people have you fallen out with that you thought you were good friends with? I would say I can't really think of any names or anything, but I know there's two or three that over time I thought were good friends, and then they
Well,
fell off. But I guess that I can't think of their names. That would mean that they hadn't reached that level with me, that they are at that point where they are friends that I thought, you know, I could count on. Do you have people like that that you fell out with? I'm not asking for names, Manira.
well, I look at it like this, and it comes out of the Bible that people come in and out of your life for a reason and a season, right?
Right.
As we travel along life's journey, we learn from our experiences with those interactions, right?
Yes.
Because life is a journey, right? And if you look at it from a standpoint, say you got a book, and in those books are different chapters, and you're reading a good book, and you get to a certain chapter and you're in the middle of it and something comes up and you say, well, wait a minute, I seem to remember it, but I don't remember it like that. And so you go back to a previous chapter and you reference it to perhaps refresh your memory, right? Or give you a little more perspective into what's going on now. So when I look at it from a standpoint of friends and friendship, I look at it as these are individuals that I met along my life's journey, right?
I agree.
And it's just like you learn something new every day, and you can learn something from people if you're open to it. So I don't look at it as having fallen out with that person. I look at it as that person having come into my life, again, going back to the Bible, for a reason and a season.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I feel
brother.
you. I feel you, sis. Do you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was I'm pretty careful about that also.
Mhm.
I don't I have a friend that I grew up with, my longtime friend, and lots of friends as we all have,
Mhm.
but I'm careful of classifying the situation.
Mhm. Mhm.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, calling it falling out,
Oh, okay, okay, got you.
Because see,
or calling it whatever. You know, it is part of the, as Munira was trying to explain, part of the circle of life and the cycle of life. You know, where we can't be in touch with everyone all the time, especially in a world like the one we have.
right,
So it's not a problem. I don't want to call it a problem. You know, I don't want to even think of it as unusual. I
right.
d- I see Munira and it makes me smile, and I haven't seen you in so long,
That same here.
and I'm it doesn't matter how long it's been, you know.
That's right. That's right. I look
I,
at you
I
with,
remember when Jeramogi, I think it was Jeramogi Kamati talking about Jeramogi a baby. And he said, you know, when he first started out, I think, what was the name of the first church Jeramogi had? I forgot the name of it, but he had a lot of, you know, friends that were with him. But when he made the move to create the shrine and left, you know, from that first church situation, he lost a lot of his friends. And then he made another move within the church and he lost a lot of his friends also. And that is a part of the journey. So some people can be your friend when things are going good and
Speak.
not necessarily, you know, when the conflict comes. And yeah, go ahead, brother.
I don't want, you know, I'm an old dude, so I got to remind, you know,
Okay.
not I say it before it gets too far away from me. But I just saw an article and found out it was an article about the church, and found
Mhm.
out that the author received $100,000 for talking about their experience in the church.
Is he still
Did
out
you,
there?
have you seen that article?
No.
It's it's I don't know his rank anymore. Colomo's daughter,
Oh, okay, okay.
I,
Which Colomo, major or captain? Bishop.
Captain Bishop Colomo, Captain Colomo,
okay,
engineer, the engineer Abanester Colomo.
Okay,
okay,
got you.
Their daughter just received $100,000 grant from some literary organization, which is it's a bigger prize than the Pulitzer,
okay,
biggest financial prize as for a writer. But the article talks about the church and talks about her experience growing up in the church. It's very nice. I'll try to grab a link and post it in this but it's powerful, and I
right,
was really pleased to read it.
right. And I'm sure that even her doing that, whether they asked or not, is a testament to the experience that I'm sure that each one of us has had
Absolutely.
as far as our relationship with the church.
Absolutely.
Right,
It was a very good expression. It may not be as close an expression as would have come from my perspective or even yours, Barudi's,
right,
but it was hers, and it was very similar, and it was close enough to cover the commonalities that made us all love what we experienced.
right, absolutely. And that is a part of who we are today.
I was saying y'all
Right.
could put it right there.
Right. And it's one of those things that once you know, you can't unknow it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so then the way that you live, move, and have your being in the world is is an example of that when we talk about that journey, and what guides us as we live, move, and have our being in the world.
Standing up.
And that is something that I will always cherish and have at the forefront of who I am in terms of a Black woman in America and an African of African ancestry, right? So knowing who you are is one of the things that I love and appreciate about the church. Providing
It takes a while to know who you are, though. I mean, unless you really got some good support systems. I mean, just from my experience, it takes a while. A lot of people, are still on that journey, and
well,
in the 50s, they still learning who they are, experiences, and all the different people that we meet along the way that factor into our experience, help to bring out who you are in relationship. So, and as I was mentioning, the people I met in elementary school have a perception of who I am. And then the people I met in church have a perception of who I am. And, all of these different perceptions kind of make up who you become and what you think about yourself. But only later do you really finalize deep in your heart who you believe you are yourself, or who you are to yourself. So all of these factors, all of these friends have a way of putting a little bit into that tapestry or that portrait. And so it's very interesting. And at different periods of your life, like I was mentioning earlier, when I was in the church, I had a different mindset and personality than I have today. And there's a lot of factors come into that. And I've had experiences like when I was in high school, I didn't know who I was. And I would drink, I would smoke, hang out, and so forth. And I meet people today from that time, and they expect me to be that same person. And I'm not. I mean, and sometimes they get upset. They say, "Who do you think you are?" I know who you are. And no, I mean, you knew who I was back then. And so you have to deal with all of these particular things. And of course, today, it doesn't matter as much what other people think. But there was a time when it might have mattered a little bit more when I was earlier in my thinking and in my life. What do y'all say about that? The different levels of your maturation and how you're affected by the friends you had at the time. Manera?
Well, again, it's a part of the developmental journey, right? So when we talk developmentally in this journey that you have, it starts from conception to birth, where you were in the house, this internal locus of control where your total dependence was on your caretaker, your mother, your father, right? And then as you left out of the house and started gaining that contact with that external locus of control, you still remember your parents, those that raised you are your very first experiences in terms of development of who you are. So who I am today is a sum total of all of those experiences, right? So going back to the developmental stages that we go through and that we go through until we die.
Yeah.
Right? You learn something again and something new about yourself, something new about the world, as long as you are alive, right? From conception to birth to death, you go through this life cycle as Siddiqui said, it's a life cycle that we go through. And again, every encounter that you have is a learning experience. And again, we're a sum total of who we are. For instance, me and the church. Now, I was born and baptized a Catholic.
Yeah.
And I woke up last night, I had a dream about my grandfather. My grandfather's been passed away 20 years ago. And we were on a trip and we were in Louisiana, and Daddy, we got to a safe place. I think I was at one of my aunt's house, and I got him comfortable on the couch, and he looked up at me and he smiled. I said, wow. And it was, it was like alive, and everything outside was some dangerous situations going on outside. So I was worried about him. I was glad we were safe. I was scurrying around trying to make sure that he was comfortable until we could get up and get going for the rest of the journey, wherever that would lead. But I woke up from it. So I woke up and we have a family chat that we have. So I told them about that in the chat. And I was telling them how when we were growing up, those of us who are old enough to remember, we had to go to church all the time in Catholic church, Sundays, Saturdays, midnight mass. And even though I didn't understand it, because in the Catholic church, when I was growing up, they were speaking Latin, and I couldn't figure it out. But what I told them was, but I am grateful for the rituals, the values, the beliefs that were instilled in us from that experience of going to church. Now, when I left home, I started exploring other churches. Here is where I'm establishing my own beliefs and identities, but that did not erase the values and beliefs and traditions that we had back then, because I appreciate it, because it instilled something into me. And so all that I could conclude, so that is where I'm getting to your point, Baruti, is that as you travel on that developmental journey, you will come into your own beliefs and values. You know, that's a part of living and
I just want to
growing
interject
as
this
a
though.
person.
The young people today don't have as much of a unfiltered perception of life, because they have so many different things. The television and the social media. Now, we had those things, but it's at such a different level today. For instance, we never saw two men kissing or things like that. We didn't see those kinds of things or saw those things that they have today. So it's a very much more difficult process that are in the young people's mind that they have to deal with today. However, they have an adjustment and a capability that we didn't have. I mean, just like when, I can't figure out how to do something with my phone or with the internet, I just call one of my daughters and they do it in like 30 seconds, so they have that capability that I don't have. So they have that adjustment. What do you say in relationship to the journey that Manira was talking about, Siddiqui?
No, I believe in change, and there's nothing that we can do to stop it. Stop it. Excuse me, and that we have to embrace the change that happens in us, and the change that happens in the people around us, and stop so much trying to force people into categories and preconceived ideas as to who and
That's the bureaucratic
what
mind.
they are.
Like, people don't want to take the time to get to know somebody. They just, like in politics, they say this is the red, this is the blue, this is a Democrat, this is Republican, instead of being, people and so forth. So that's the bureaucratic mind. So I understand that.
Mhm.
we can't fall for it.
No, but but I believe, but the main issue is just that people are will change, and you have to learn how to accept it
Mm.
and flow with it as it goes. Because as you were trying to talk about earlier, you know, you might talk to someone who wants you to act like who you were years ago, you know, and you may have gone to a different place for that. So
Yeah. And
that,
that happens, and you have to be open to that. And my life is all about that and so forth.
well, you know, and we all have to be about that in terms of the people that we encounter, you know,
Right.
and be open to the change that they have gone through and that we are going through.
Mhm. And be blessed and grateful for the ability to ascertain what is for you, because what God has for you is for you, and
Right.
what He has for them is for
Exactly.
them,
Yeah.
Exactly.
right?
And
And
without any judgment on which one is better,
absolutely, absolutely,
it's just different.
But
absolutely.
as you all both know, there are times when people want you to fit into a pattern because it's easy and it's what they know. Because if you're not fitting into the pattern, then they have to kind of do a little bit more work to be able to get to know who you are and so forth. And you encounter that a lot. I was mentioning earlier, I'm not as close to my CTG, BTG brothers. You know, there was a time when I was very close to them. You know, Oko, Jafari, Kambui, so forth. And I was mentioning how myself, you, Adelifu, and Okolo, we connected together on a common ground level, and we're still here today. While I'm not as close to my BTG brothers as I was at one time, but
Mhm.
that's just the story of life. And just like with my brother who was going to be on here, Lawrence, uh, we kind of connect. We connected in the third grade, and we're still connected today. Now we don't hang out, but we have a bond that we created and we developed that still lasts today. And as I mentioned, he could call me in the middle of the night and I already know that, okay, I got to go see what's going on with my brother, who I know that is my brother, even though we're not blood brothers. Now, my blood brother could call me and I would be a little bit more questioning because, you know, and I've told the story, uh, my family was raised as Jehovah's Witnesses. I am not a Jehovah's Witness, but of course, because they follow that and they believe that they're right and they cannot easily see beyond that. So they have a certain way that they look at me. And that that bias is brought into all conversations, all relationships where we have a commonality. And if I told you today, Siddiqui, I'm going to be a Hare Krishna or a Seventh-day Adventist, you would say, oh, okay, I believe that. You know, you would say, okay, and that wouldn't affect our friendship. That wouldn't affect our bond. Uh, where it does affect some other people and so forth. So that is and just like Lawrence Allen, who I mentioned, it would not affect our relationship either. So the friendship is before the label or the pattern or whatever box you would put it in.
Mhm.
The friendship that was developed is before that.
Mhm.
This is the 151st episode. I just want to say thank you. We are almost to the end. You wanted to share something on that that I was saying, Manira?
Mhm. Well, I was just gonna say that's where that unconditional love comes in, right?
Yeah.
We love unconditionally, and that's all that we could do, right? If it's not again for you, it's not. You have to understand what it is that you believe, your beliefs, your values, your journey, assess it against, whatever it is that somebody may be introducing you to, and make a decision from there. But at the same time, I hesitate when I hear, well, I don't hesitate. I always question when somebody say, oh, I'm just gonna cut them off. Well, we're all human, right? And so as opposed to putting a label, oh, I'm gonna cut them off, or this is the situation, or ponder on whatever it is, you love unconditionally and continue on the journey, right? That serves then as an example to others, right? That it's okay that you believe this and this is how you operate in the world, but what do they say? As for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord, right? That is my belief, right?
But just
And
saying that right there,
mm,
and the Bible says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And if you can live by that principle, that basically crosses all faiths in most ways, I would say. So yeah, I would say you are living by the principles of good and by God if you are able to do that. There's a lot of people, as I was speaking earlier, cannot admit that they are wrong, cannot admit that they made a mistake because they believe they would lose faith, they would lose some strength. And it's difficult to be in a friendship, a reciprocal friendship with somebody that has that. But there's a lot of people that I've encountered that have that. And of course, I'm not able to really maintain a real reciprocal friendship with people who have that type of mindset. So my daughter's moving now. So bye, baby. Bye. Okay. She's moving in, and I'm blessed to have 3 babies. Not all of them are well, all of them are beautiful, and not all of them are at their top and best, but that doesn't matter. God worked with me. My parents worked with me, and so I'm gonna be there for them, and I thank you. This is
amen.
the 151st episode of the Sourceseeker Hour. I just want to say that I'm Baruti Carl Alexander. We are toward the end of our episode talking about friendship, and I have a few days before my birthday on February the 14th.
All
And
right,
I'm
happy
so
birthday.
blessed to still be alive, still be able to walk. And
Thank you, Lord.
anybody out there who I have not treated in a fair and or you believe I have not, please share with me, and I would like to reach out to you and do better. I believe I've been fair across the board. I would like to find a way to work with my blood brother and sister one day. I think I've discussed with both of you the difficulty I have. However, their framework is from the Jehovah's Witness background, but even with that, they have an interpretation. And not everything I do meets within their standards. However, as I mentioned to them, you got to be careful about believing that you are right and everybody else is wrong. The Bible is full of examples where it shares that there were 2 people at the altar, and one of them said, at least I'm better than this person, that person, and so forth. And the other person just said, help me, God, I'm a sinner. And then Jesus gave the example, hey, who do you think God would favor? And there's other examples where God or Jesus was talking about, hey, you thinking you on this level, but be careful you're not a hypocrite and a sinner. I just want to say I try to be as fair and as caring and all of those things as possible. And if I have ever consciously, if I've made a mistake, I try to go back and apologize and try to make up for it. And a lot of times that has been successful. Sometimes people do not allow that, and that's where it is, and that's how things are. Well, that basically is all I got to share about friendship and love, and it's very important. And I just want to mention the Omega's motto again, friendship is essential to the soul. And it really is. It really is. Friendship is a very beautiful thing. And that's one of the problems with the internet and so forth. If you just concentrate on trying to work in that realm, it takes away from the human emotion. And just like I enjoy our pizza time at Spanky's, Manero, that's a joy to be able to just connect with you. Of course, all the time, Siddiqui, we need to invite you to our Spanky's at our Spanky's lunch also. And
Sounds good.
and yes, those things are important because the human contact, to be able to share that spirit, that connection, those things are important. And it carries over to what we have right here today, because without that human feel, you don't have that extra feeling that we can have right here because we've done that. So you got to have both of them. You can't just create a friendship and a bond just over the internet alone. Even though I've built some connections, but it's nothing like where you can connect in person and enjoy that one-to-one human spirit. So I thank you.
Yeah, that goes back to our one of our sayings, beliefs in the church, that salvation is a group experience.
Yes,
No
ma'am.
where you
The
are.
principles of the church were so powerful.
Am I losing you guys?
No, you're here. Yeah, I truly believe that no matter where you go, you have to be part of a group. And I'm saying a nurturing group. Because if God meant, or the creator of the universe meant for us to be by ourselves, he would have just made one of us, cloned us all to look just alike, and we'd all be walking around like robots. But it's so nice seeing you, Don Johnson.
Hey,
Likewise.
blessings, guys. I appreciate it. We're at the end of our episode. I just want to say, Rocket Moving and Storage. If you have any storage or moving needs, they are friends and sponsors of the Sourceseeker Hour. Reach out to them. Tell them Baruti sent you. You can talk to Philip Green or talk to the owner, DeAndre Sam. Rocket Moving and Storage. They'll take care of you. I appreciate it. 151st episode. We'll see you next time on the Sourceseeker Hour.
Okay.